We are stardust, awakening.
All right, hello everybody. Today I'm joined by Lenerd Louw, a guest I'm super excited to have on. I actually have Lenerd's book here. It's oh my thing is messing it up, but it's called Jump. Um, and I read it. So Lenerd's from South Africa, like me as well, and I read it earlier this year. It's actually a funny story. I was at a coffee shop in Glen, and I just done a mushroom trip the day before, and I was in this coffee shop. And I went to the bathroom. And as I was coming out of the bathroom, there was like a bookshelf there in the coffee shop. And I was just drawn to your book. Like I was just like looking at the bookshelf, and then like I just noticed myself like picking up the book and like reading the back. And I was like, when it's like the energy more than like the words, where I was just like feeling this draw to the book. And then I was like, I have to buy this book. And it's one of the easiest reads I've ever read, because it was like such an interesting story, like just so fascinating, your life story. And it actually then inspired me to go. Shortly after that, I booked a one-way flight to Thailand, because it's just like I love the call to like spontaneous travel, and I've done it a few times in my life. But the book felt like a nudge for me as well, which is like go somewhere. And yeah, so super excited to have you on. I love the book and I've recommended it to so many people. So thanks for joining me, Lennon.
Thank you, Carl, and thank you for sharing that story. That's beautiful. Yeah, I know the shop. It's of yoga in
Yeah,
Glen.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. Awesome. Yeah, I know exactly as you were explaining from the bathroom down the little passage
Yes.
there.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad my book called you there,
Yeah.
and you
It,
picked
it
it. So
did.
interesting.
Exactly. I think the mushroom trip the day before opened me up a bit more. And then I was
Mm.
literally just drawn there. And yeah, I wouldn't have found it otherwise. So it's just
Must have felt like a little bit of a like part of the journey, part of the mushroom journey. Like the next day,
yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because you're still open the next day as well. So it's like, yeah, it's definitely part of it. Yeah. So yeah, for my audience who don't know you as well as I do, if they haven't read the book, um, why don't you take, because I just love the way the book starts, like kind of what your life was like beforehand. And yeah, maybe you can tell us a little bit about that, like where did this whole journey of awakening begin in your life? Because I think for most people it's often a feeling of dissatisfaction, or like things can't stay this way anymore. They're kind of feeling of living inauthentically, and then something has to shift. So maybe if you could tell us a little bit like what your life was looking like, and then what kind of made you feel that something needed to shift. Yeah.
Sure, Carl. Yeah, love to. Yeah, so the book is a memoir. It's a memoir about the last, let's say, 10, 15 years of my life, but it also goes back to teenage years.
Right.
It jumps around a bit to complete the story, but it's a memoir about my life. And it's partly written because I just wanted to express through me. I never thought I'd be writing a book. It was the last thing in my mind to just express through me. And in the book, it tells the story over this period, but there are also a lot of pointers in this book, almost pointing people in a different directions, and I find different people to get different things out of it. But to backtrack a little bit into your question of where it started, is that the opening scene starts in 2009 in Clifton in Cape Town.
Yeah.
And yeah, with a crowd. Yeah, so that's when it started, and then it pops back a little bit in time. But in essence, brief summary of my life. I at that point was running a business insurance company. I was the CEO of a direct life insurance company in Cape Town. I just come down from Johannesburg, where I had done that previously for other people. I was really good at starting businesses, and not my own, but entrepreneur in that way.
Yeah.
And I always enjoyed what I was doing. I studied law, I studied business. We were always in these funky, and I know insurance sounds boring, but direct insurance was not boring. It was really funky businesses. We already in early 2000s, went to work with jeans and sandals, and we were cutting out the middleman, bringing short-term car insurance and house insurance and life insurance directly to people. So I always had, and I mainly ran marketing, advertising for this group, which was super exciting. With big billboards of 20 meter by 5 meter on the highways of like, cutting out the middleman. I had so much fun. So it's important to say that, because often people say the biggest jump, you jump out of the corporate life because you hated it. It wasn't that at all. I was really enjoying my business life, and I had so much fun. Something shifted in 2009. So I came back. I came from Johannesburg down to Cape Town in 2009. For the international audience, Johannesburg more in the north of the country. We kind of grew up, and then Cape Town right here in the bottom. And as I came down to start a new business for guys, also a 4-year relationship ended. Love of my life, she wanted to have kids. I already had kids, and I couldn't see myself doing that. It was almost a perfect storm, Carl.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the same time, I had, looking back now, the only way I can describe it is I had like this big internal shift happening. And now, in hindsight, it's easy to explain, but it's very difficult to explain right when I was there. When I was there, I would just walk into the office and I just felt out of place. I just all of a sudden, it happened very quickly, started feeling out of my skin. And I would walk in and I shouldn't be here anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, what's this? I mean, this is what you've always been doing. And I went, I shouldn't be here. And, and I often looked at myself, almost like detached, as if there was a little screen, a camera in the corner of the room looking at me. And I was looking at myself in this picture, in this office, doing this stuff, but from this little camera. It's like the strangest thing. And this voice saying, you shouldn't be doing this anymore. Now, that was pretty confusing. Because, and I'll tell you now, a little bit later, what in hindsight, what I think what happened. But that was, at that point, super confusing, because, I mean, this is what I studied for, this is what I worked for my whole life, and I had fun, and then all of a sudden this happens, So what do we do? And there was a calling to change my life, to do something different in all areas, like career, everything, So what do we do if we feel a call to something else? Often if you're not sure, we don't want to go there. And what's the easiest way not to go there is to distract yourself.
Yeah, you want to avoid it, because it's like that feeling of the disruption of kind of what we've gotten used to as well, where
exactly,
like feels according, but it's afraid of the unknown, really, or like what.
Oh, spot on, brother. I mean, Paulo Coelho, I read a lot of his books then, just shortly after, and said opening that door. There's one beautiful passage in The Warrior of Light where he says, open that door, and if you step through that door, you leave behind everything and you walk into a world of where there's nothing And
the problem is, like, the more you try to avoid it, though, the more uncomfortable it's going to get, which I think you spoke about in your book, but it's like the same for me. It's like something has to change, something has to change. And like you said, we're afraid of the change. So we distract, but it's just going to get more and more uncomfortable the more you try to ignore it,
That's exactly it. It just gets, the voice just got louder of, you shouldn't be doing what you were doing, and I distracted myself. The way I distracted myself was, the name of the first chapter is Sex, Drugs, and Jacuzzis. That's in essence what I did, So weekends, my weekends consisted of that, from Friday to Monday, with some nights not sleeping at all, And
you lived a pretty wild life then, like reading those chapters of the book.
It was a crazy life, and I mean, I wouldn't say that there weren't like also fun parts. I mean, as all my schoolboy fantasies were. I mean, often it was just me and sometimes one woman, or sometimes 2 or 3 women, just for the weekend, just making love. It was, and I didn't have big parties in my place, and I didn't have a lot of male buddies in Cape Town, more women buddies. So it was often just me and 2, 3 women at home making love for an hour. And that all sounds really exciting, and it was. But there was also a very dark void inside me, because I it's fine for the first few weeks or a year or so, but then later I just got like, I realized I was distracting myself from this calling, as you exactly said there. I had this calling to do something different, but it's almost like the hero's journey. The hero get this
exactly.
calling.
Yeah.
And then in the calling, and that's amazing. When I look at my whole thing, it was the whole hero's journey and that whole story. And in my book also, you get the call and you say, no, I'm not ready for it. It's not me. I'm not worthy or whatever. And then you just get clapped and you get clapped and you get clapped until you say, okay, well, fuck that. I surrender.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm going on this journey now. And that's what happened, from 2009 to 2013. I was distracting myself for a good 3-4 years. And then end of 2012, it just, I had this crashing walk on Clifton Beach where I couldn't see the beauty in anything anymore. I felt disconnected from nature. And I just went, oh God, I'm in big shit. Yeah. And that basically just led to me resigning, selling everything, give everything away, bought a backpack and a one-way ticket to Lima in Peru, which started a 5-year journey around the world, 35 countries. And I basically went from one learning opportunity to the next, one workshop to the next. And I didn't know I was going on a spiritual journey. I just thought we
can look back and talk about it now and like through the book of like, okay, like what a crazy journey you went on. But like in the moment, like if you think of like the first flight you took or the first places you went to, you did not know everything else that was still to come, or like where it was still unfolding. And I wanted to just backtrack a little bit as well to the word surrender, because I feel like that's such a key word in this whole process. Is like this awakening journey starts to unfold when we really like surrender to it. And it has to come to that place, like you said as well, where it's you can fight it as much as you want, but eventually you just can't anymore. It's that like you said, that walk on the beach in Clifton where something is like, okay, and that's like the little individual or like the old self or the ego or whatever that's like, okay, I can't fight this anymore. And then there's a beautiful adventure that lies on the other side, but it's almost like we have to get to that point where it's like we let it take us in a sense.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a lot of people say to me, wow, it must have been difficult to have done this and to actually jumped and to and I actually say to them, at that point, it wasn't actually difficult anymore, Carl.
Yeah.
Because the difficulty was the 4 years of distracting myself.
Yeah.
And yes, there's all the jacuzzis and so, but there's also in the book here, when you read it, there's the deep, dark places and like really, almost, I wouldn't say considering suicide, but really being quite okay with dying right there, and then, which is pretty borderline there. So there was all these dark places and distraction, but then eventually when I surrendered, as you so beautifully put, then it wasn't difficult because I actually realized I had no choice. So I just went, okay, I surrender, take me.
That's so well said though, because it's so funny that that's the easy bit in the end. The hard bit is like working out the thing that wants to resist everything so much. And then eventually it's like the flow that life actually wants to take us on. That's the easy bit, but it almost has to grind out like what doesn't trust it first. Yeah, that's the more uncomfortable phase.
Yes, that's exactly it. And because then when you surrender, you also don't have a plan, and you're okay with not having a plan because you're surrendering. So people ask me, "How did you plan it?" I had absolutely no idea what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and where I'm even going. I mean, you read it in a book. I thought I'll go to New York because I thought maybe I just need to learn new businesses. I mean, I really didn't think I'm going on a spiritual awakening. I just thought my voice said, clear out the old to make place for the new. When I asked it, and I went, okay, sell everything, backpack. But then I looked at the temperature chart in New York in January of 2014. It was like -5 fucking degrees. And as you know, for an African, that's not I don't know.
That's not comfortable for us.
No, it's not. No. And it was like 35 degrees Celsius in Cape Town. And then I went, okay, let me go stay in the Southern Hemisphere for 3-4 months. And then I go up to New York, and it was like flipping a coin between South America and Southeast Asia. And I mean, so South America, I love the Incas. Let me go there. Yeah. So to that point, I just went there. And after a few months, it developed into the spiritual journey. I never ended up in going to New York. I still haven't been. Maybe I'll go one day. It's not so important anymore.
Yeah.
But yes, that surrender, as you say, then led me. I just went to South America. I landed there in a country where I couldn't speak the language, and I don't know if you've been there, but don't get very far with English, and even less far with Afrikaans. So my two languages. So. Yeah, so I very quickly learned Spanish, or tried to learn Spanish, and the surrender just took me where it took me.
Yeah. At what point did you start to realize that there was this awakening journey unfolding, or you were kind of on this path that was unraveling beyond you? Like, at what point did that become more and more clear, if you can remember?
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful question. I think there was maybe the first inkling was when I was still in Cape Town. Just before I resigned, I was reading The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma.
Right.
And I read that, and he had this, first of all, the guy had a heart attack in court.
Yeah.
He was driving himself so hard. Secondly, he had this crazy number of, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars he must earn before he can retire. And I looked at him and went, what? You had that view, and then he had a heart attack, and then he went, okay, God, this is not so important anymore.
Yeah.
So I read that book, and then that was the inkling. I think that's what also got me to actually, it helped me to make the surrender process.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how the right little, like, it's like it's like we were saying before we started recording, the breadcrumbs, where like the first inklings of awakening start to come into your life. Even like, I look back a few times myself as well. It's like, when did this start? And it's like way before the mind actually realized it starts as well. There's like something that just comes. And I'm always interested in that as well. Like, it could also just be like a certain being crossing your path at a certain time in your life that kind of starts to wake something up in you. And then we start to more consciously go on the journey as well later on.
Yeah, that's beautifully put, Carl. It's almost like small little bits happening, waking up apart without even realizing it in your mind. And and I suppose that book was a little bit like that. And then when I arrived in South America, the same. I just came across Paulo Coelho, and I read a lot of his books, Warrior of Light. And so I ended up reading all these books. And what really then hit me also is I got pretty sick with parasites, with amoebas. I lost I went from 80, lean. I was best shape of my life, and when I left, and this was like in my late 40s. I had a six-pack. I had 82 kgs. There was no fat, and I went from 82 to 70. I lost 12 kilograms of muscle.
Yeah,
brew, and I couldn't get healthy. I took antibiotics. It didn't help, and then I ended up. I just started now. Wow, there's something, and I started reading these books, and then I ended up with a shaman in Guatemala, and started reading Seat of the Soul, Gary Zukov. So those voices that started happening more and more. Paulo Coelho books. There's beautiful books. That he's written. Most people know The Alchemist.
Yeah.
It's like the Bride of the 11 Minutes. There's so many beautiful books in Warrior of Light. And then when I ended up at the lake in Guatemala, this beautiful lake with volcanoes around it, and a little village called San Marcos, Mayan village. I came across Gary Zukov and Seat of the Soul whilst I was being treated with emotional expression release, and to get rid of the parasites. And then that totally blew me open. When I read Seat of the Soul, it wasn't like, oh, interesting, I'm learning something. It wasn't at all. It was like, I remember.
Yeah, it's that remembering. Yeah. It's funny, like how the books like progress to the more like direct, I would say, like transmission, or like as the journey continues to unfold. It's like you start with this book, and then it's like, okay, life is just again kind of meeting you where you're at as the journey unfolds, and it gets like more and more open. Yeah, maybe tell us a bit about, because a lot of people that watch my podcast come here from like sorts of like chronic illness, like the same kind of thing, like awakening playing out in the physical body because of repressed emotions and all these kind of things. So what helped you to get rid of those parasites in the end?
Sorry, that was a big part, is actually Met a lady there in at the lake that was also facilitating on workshops I did later on, quite a few around the world. And she was introduced to me by a crazy guy with the name of Dr. Bull. That's also in my book that I went to see. And yes, he was a medical doctor, but actually Canadian guy, but he was also like really shamanic and really fascinating character. And he actually introduced me to her. And I ended up in a lounge for half an hour, punching cushions, doing hand screams, fucking cushions. I mean, I was like, what the hell? I was like halfway through this. I was like, wow. I mean, I'm on a reality TV. Are there cameras here? And I was like, wow. And but I mean, I was so desperate because I tried everything. I thought, okay, well, if it's going to help to punch and fuck cushions to get better, what else? Let me go for it.
That's the surrender again, right? It's like you can't, you got nothing else to do anymore.
Got nothing to lose, man. I was pretty worried because you go on the internet and you look at these parasites eating you up, and they're eating up your food. You're eating, and then your food, it's like it's a pretty terrible thing, So I almost felt this consciousness of this parasites, and I went like, wow, man, I need to do. So in any event, I did this whole half an hour session there with her, and I tell you, I woke up the next morning and I just felt so much lighter.
Yeah.
So the parasites was a beautiful gift to bring me, yes, to the broader spiritual awakening, but also to bring me to some of the steps before that, which is, as you say, emotional expression and release. Now, for me, as a left brain guy growing up in South Africa, I was always relatively liberal political wise, but very much masculine energy, left brain, not in my emotions from my teenage years. I blocked my emotions, stuff, like it happens in the teenage years at home and so on with the siblings and the family. I just went, okay, fuck that. I'm blocking my emotions. So I was, for a guy like me to actually now go and punch cushions and express these emotions, it wasn't just going to happen if someone come around and say, hey, man, do you want to try this? I would have gone, what, man? What are you talking about? Get out of here. So I had to be pretty sick to do that, So it was a super blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
And then I did this, and the next day I just felt, wow. And that got my attention. Then I went, okay. Starting to see the light here.
Yeah. It's like, okay, life, I see, something that I don't,
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And then once you open yourself to that, then there more things come, and then she was involved with this international school of temple arts training around the world, and told me about that. And a few months later, I ended up in a seven-day residential retreat in Hawaii. I went to a Tantra Festival, and then this retreat where
let's get into the Tantra now. I just wanted to say lastly on that point about the parasites, because I think people in my audience will resonate with this, is that's often, again, like you said, the gift in that, like the same. So for me, this journey played out through like illness, like I got this chronic illness and then blah, 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 like got really sick, exactly the same kind of thing, where the only reason I went so deep and did all this shadow work and this kind of inner meeting these parts of myself was because, like you said, I wouldn't have gone there otherwise, and it's such a beautiful, profound opening to things later on, but you only go there because of this thing that feels like a problem, and it is in essence, like for you the parasites, or for me the illness, and for lots of other people watching this, whatever their challenge is. But that is the thing that is saying, I want you to go somewhere else that you wouldn't have gone otherwise. It's like that guide that's saying go there, and you wouldn't have gone there if it wasn't for that thing.
No, definitely, I agree with you. And I think we get these messages first softly, and then a little bit louder, and then like even louder. I think someone said I don't know, the Sadhguru or one of the beautiful Indian mystics, or someone was Eckhart Tolle. I can't remember now the person that said it, but it's almost at the first you hit with a feather,
Yes.
Okay, just a little feather, and then you don't hear, and then okay, now you hit with like maybe more like with a book, and then you still don't hear, and then you actually hit with a brick, so So parasites was a little bit of like being hit by a brick, It was like, okay, fuck, okay. So
Yeah, and
I
it's our choice. Like it's we don't want to listen when it's the feather. So then we have to
yes,
when it's the brick.
yes, and the beauty, and maybe I'm jumping right ahead now, but the beauty and what I love doing now, and what is that if we can listen when it's the feather, it is so much easier for us. So a lot of my work, what I do now, and work with a lot of men and men's groups and stuff, is that actually for the guys that hearing the feather, to give them access to stuff that they can then already start doing the work whilst the feather is there before the brick comes.
Yes.
Because the brick is sore, It's uncomfortable, it's disruptive, and it's sore, it's not, it comes with pain, so it's better to listen when the feather is there before the brick comes, or the bus, and after the brick, if the brick doesn't get you, then the bus is coming.
It keeps going.
Yeah, and I'm really inspired now. I'm jumping a bit ahead here. Sorry.
Let's go.
Is that okay?
Go with the flow.
So I'm really, so I'm really inspired to. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to talk to guys or to people that before the feather, because I don't have the energy to persuade people of anything, So
well, that's it, right? Exactly. So someone has to feel nudge first themselves. Yeah,
exactly. I don't want to go to groups of people and say, "Listen, guys, you must do it." They'll go like, "What do you?" It's too much work,
Yeah.
So I don't want to do that. So I want to come in with the feather is, when people are ready, and that's what I find a lot now coming to me. People just asking me, and out of the book, that's how it started. People asking me, share. And I'm being asked to talk. It's so I'm in that space now where and I think that's what excites me, because wow, it's great to start the journey from that place for people.
Yeah, and it's like this is what I feel as well. It's like when you've done all that work yourself, then you can come in and help. Like not everybody has to, like their journeys will unfold exactly how it has to, but not everybody has to get hit by the bus or the brick. It's like now that it's like, because this is what I like to do as well. It's like, okay, how can I meet somebody where they're at, and then make it as smooth a ride as possible for like what they're at. And
exactly. Yeah, and I believe a lot of the younger people, young men, young women, are actually born into this high level of consciousness where they almost kind of come in with a feather. And I honestly think so. I mean, I often talk to groups of guys in their 20s, and the guys are just so open. It's so easy. They actually come in with my son. My daughter. I mean, they're actually in their 20s already. But even when they're teens, when it was around the world, they would often come out and the holidays travel with me. They were 15 and 17. And the wisdom that my daughter and my son, my daughter shared with me at the age of 12 and 13. I was like, what? She's 13 years old. But I really believe that generation and even the newer generation are coming in at a higher consciousness level.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, I love that you bring that up, because I touch on this topic with people often, and I feel the exact same thing because I see it as well. It's like, and I think there's a couple of different factors. There's less conditioning. Like if I look at someone like you and like other people that are from an older generation than me, because I'm from quite a young generation myself, it's like also we can burn through the like the connectivity of the world. Like there's all these factors, like the collective consciousness is a lot different. And for me, it's the connectivity of the internet and how connected it is across the globe currently, where like for me, when something started to feel dissatisfied in my life, like I could burn across the rabbit holes until I was like finding these teachers that were talking about all this awakening stuff. Whereas like in the past, it would have required flying across the globe to like kind of find all these different people. So there's like that. And there's also just like the consciousness of the beings that are coming in. But it's definitely like the connectivity and the collective consciousness of the planet is just kind of making space for more and more of this, is what I feel. Yeah.
And I totally agree with you. And I believe almost my generation, I'm going to get too woo-woo, but my book actually talk about, almost like the indigo kind of kids kind of, come in, and I come in with that energy. I'm a little bit of a disruptor. I did the same in business. I'm a disruptor, so I come in with the energy of more breaking things down, breaking the conditioning down, being disruptive, breaking it. And then you guys, I don't know, roughly how old you are now, Carl.
I'm 25. Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, spot on. They were my kids are. Oh man, you're wise. Your energy. I thought you were older.
Yeah.
And then you look older. I thought your energy was older. No, you spot on, brother. And then yolks come in with. You almost need, as they say, that this indigo gets to go break all this nonsense down because you come in already. You don't want to come down with breaking down energy. You guys come in already with this new higher vibration energy, and then it just comes so easy. It just flows for you, for a number, because you come in with that high energy. Number one, plus number two, some of these things are already starting to be broken down. I think those two work really well together.
And there's also like the different roles that we all have to play, like each generation is, because if you look at the astrology as well, I got interested in astrology at some point. It's like these big planets like Pluto and kind of the more distant planets are like more generational planets. So like each time like a whole generation is being born, they kind of have a certain energetic signature around that generation, and like that's kind of what their role is in that time. And so it's just very much where we're going collectively. But I did have a lot of, I think, why I woke up so young, and it was kind of the same as you were saying, was that like that raw suffering as well, though. There was a lot of the not wanting to be here anymore, like that kind of stuff but I think it just happened like in a very condensed period of just like super intense, super ill. There's nowhere out because I'm also very sensitive to energy. So like growing up, I think I just collected stuff so quickly, and so it was like something was like, okay, there's no other way. I can't go on like this anymore. And then it just broke through.
Okay, so that also accelerated you in that process.
Exactly. So
and I totally agree with you, brother. This planet is waking up at a fucking massive, at the speed of light. I promise you, I see it, I feel it. And I mean, a lot of my mates or people out there that are so negative, and I mean, I do get it being negative. I mean, I do get it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people only see because I watch news. They only see all the negative stuff that's happening. And yes, there would be, because we are breaking through into a higher level of consciousness, into a higher dimensions, so it will be. That's part of the process. It's almost as I say, trust the process, So I can see it. And I've always been, I suppose, a bit out of the box and bigger picture thinking. And I look at it and I can see this massive awakening.
Yeah.
And yes, there are people dying and killing and crazy wars and stuff happening, but it's just the energies balancing.
But it's part of it, right? It's the pole, like the two poles of the energy, right? As the awakening happens more, the shadow is going to be illuminated more at the same time. And it's the same thing. The shadow being illuminated more is what is fueling the awakening at the same time. So like,
thank you.
Yeah, we're seeing our collective consciousness more clearly, and that's kind of when we're waking up.
No, thank you, Carl, and that's why thank you for making this program, this podcast and stuff. Because what you said there now, just that one sentence is, could be really super important for someone that is listening and that maybe feel despondent and negative and this world, and bring kids in. You often hear things like that. Can't bring kids into this world. Just that one sentence might just make them go like, "Wow, wait a moment. There's something bigger happening here."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's like, it can be scary, but it can be exciting as well. Like, this is what I'm looking at currently. It's like the potential as more and more beings wake up and we go kind of, there's just so much that can happen as we wake up to like our own inner technology and like in the consciousness like within as well. It's just going to get crazier and crazier. And when you think about the acceleration as well, like for me, I'm just seeing that as well. It's just things are going like that.
I see a massive acceleration, bro.
No,
definitely. I see that and I feel that. And cool.
Yeah, epic. Okay, well, let's go back to because like for your part, the tantric side was like a massive part of it, which I found so interesting. And I loved what I loved about your book as well was the openness and the just like the pure. Because for me, this whole thing's about authenticity as well. It's like there's no such thing as the awakening path. There's the authentic expression of how this wants to play through each one of us. And like you said, we all have different kind of energies, and like yours is the more disruptor, whatever. But that's what I loved about the book, was it's just so your path, all
Mm.
the sex stuff and all of that. So tell us a little bit about the role of the of the tantric and the tantra in your as your like almost like your vehicle for awakening in a sense, maybe.
Wonderful. To answer that, maybe I'll talk about the theme of sexuality through my whole life.
Yeah, that sounds
So
good.
is that okay? Maybe
Yeah.
the point is the
Yeah,
so
because
the
it's
first
also, I
one,
feel like just like in the awakening space, it's something that's not spoken about enough, or it's getting better and better. But that's what I loved about your book, as well as the openness to speak about sexuality, like straight out there. Yeah.
yeah, maybe just a quick one on that point, Carl. Yeah, I often find that people, that's the last thing they do. They work with all the other areas, and the heart and even the solar plexus, but below that,
Yeah.
people are scared. Sexuality is the last work they do. So you go meditate on a mountain for a year or 10 years, but then there's a reason, because I think it's also quite challenging, the sexuality space, and maybe in some, but
There's so much conditioning.
without
Around it.
but without the sexuality being looked at, you're never going to be integrated. I'm going to be very direct about that.
Yeah.
You can't live from the heart upwards, because you're in a body, you're a human being on this planet. There's the sea, there's nature, yes, earth, there's, we in bodies, so so I think sexuality, and that's why what I believe that I also bring up is that naturalness and comfortableness of talking about it, and then for people to feel that and then see, oh wow, let me explore that.
And you open up the space for others as well by doing that, by kind of like being willing to speak about it. It opens the space for more people to speak about it.
Yes. I often said my partners, you talk so naturally about these things. I go like, but why not? And I'm starting to realize that it's not a given. So
no, it's not.
That's amazing. So it seems clearly to have a role there. So the timeline thing, to give the brief pointers, is so growing up in my late teens, at a boys' boarding school in Pretoria. We were marched across the road to the church, and we were told we're going to burn in hell if we have sex before marriage.
Right.
So that was my starting point, with sexuality. And first of all, it was a boys' school, so there wasn't that many girls around to even do anything with. And then I got to varsity, and then I was so shit scared of all this stuff that I almost avoided women in a way until the age of 21, when I then only made love the first time at 21. And I'm high sex drive, and I love women. And even before I went to the boys' school at the age of standard 7, I just started like such a energy flowing with me and women and the girls, so I wow. So there was a beautiful connection, but then it got cut off a bit. And then I had this journey. So
it must have been like, just to see where your path, like, must have been really challenging, because you have that energetic makeup to you, probably, like, just seeing where your path went. It's like you very much have that. I think it's a part of your transmission to the world, is like the sexuality side of things. So the females in your life were probably feeling that energy as well. And like with all your conditioning, it must have been pretty challenging to have to repress that side of you as well.
Wow, Carl, that's actually a beautiful, wow. Did something dropped in there for me now that I never realized before. I just have this, I often have this picture of in standard 7, for international audience. What is that? That is when you're about 14 or so, I think, 14, 15. That was I was only in the boarding school the last 2.5 years in a boys' school, but before that I was in a mixed school. And at that age of standard 7, wow, and a few girls came to swim at our swimming pool, and some of my buddies there, and yes, I just felt this energy. And and I had short-sighted, so I had like glasses and stuff, but the women I just got on so well with the girls, and I could feel this energy between us. They were beautiful girls, and and even with my nerdy glasses, I mean, if I may say so, it's not disrespectful. The chicks really liked me, and I liked
I'm not like, based on your energy, I'm not surprised. Like, it's such a big part of your your energetic.
Oh, it was like wow, what's happening here? And it was so amazing. They were just talking to me. I wasn't even doing anything. So there's such a vibrant energy happening. And then it's so fascinating. And then being pulled out of that, that got transferred to Johannesburg, and then be pulled out of that and put in a boarding school. We can't even go out on the weekends. It was like solitary confinement in a way. It's like putting, it's actually insane, but I don't actually have a charge about it. It's just interesting if I look back at it. So that is so interesting. And then at the age of 21, it came back, because then I actually went at the age of 21. It's like, what happened is the girl sitting next to me, and she put her tongue in my ear, and I went like, what the fuck? It's okay. I'll burn in hell.
It's worth it.
The flick, all that, as you say, all that suppression for so many years,
Well,
that the flick just switched, and I went, it's okay. I'll take that deal. I'm having sex with this chick. And we had this beautiful lovemaking. Amanda, my latest or current partner, was fascinated with this name, Amanda. I met her at Alligators across the road, pub across the road from RAU, Rand Afrikaans University, now called University of Joburg. So I don't have any contact with her. She actually, previous partner asked me, said, why, you must make contact. I don't have any contact. But anyway, so this beautiful woman, which is actually a year or two younger than me, then for the next 2-3 weeks showed me the ropes, so she was so super excited to be teaching this guy, that she was super excited that I was this virgin. And then, then I lost my virginity to her. So for 3 weeks, I had this beautiful. Anyway, so even after the 3 weeks, I was also, but I was still living in fear of, I'm now, I was this amazing thing, and a lot of the conditioning dropped away, but there was still a little bit of like, wow, I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Then jumping ahead, so that was the making love at the age of 21, and then in my 20s, I think most of the conditioning dropped, and then I was married in my 30s, and then at the age of 39, got divorced, and then by 41. I had a partner, this same partner we spoke about earlier. She was much younger than me, and we made love a lot. And I started just being able to make love for, and lasting longer. And I've started having what you would call full body sensations, full body orgasms, be able to last. She would have a lot of orgasms, and I would not orgasm. I would be able to hold my orgasm and for hours, and I was in my early 40s, she was in her mid 20s, and but super powerful woman, she was younger. We were energetically in the same space, even though the years difference.
Yeah.
But all this lovemaking led me to the space where this has started happening. But there was no one to talk to, I was running marketing for the group, and then actually the CEO of the direct live business. And who do you talk to? I can't talk to any guys in a business, because I can't talk to I tried talking a little bit to my mates, and they were just, what are you talking about? They thought I was just talking that I was talking nonsense about this hours of love, and I just left it. So I didn't realize then that these are actually ancient practices. I just embodied it. I just started happening.
Yeah.
So Carl, that was then, I would say in the early 2000s that this happened, 2003 or 4, whatever, so 20 years ago. And then by 2009, I moved down to Cape Town. Marika and I had split up by then because of, there's the children's story. And then in Cape Town, in that period where I distracted myself with the sex, drug, and jacuzzis, actually it enhanced even more. And right. Using some drugs like MDMA made it even more so. So I started having definite sensations of having orgasms without ejaculating, not just the full body orgasms, but also genital, like exploding orgasms, but actually no ejaculation.
Yeah.
Which there was still no one to talk to. Yeah. You can't on a Monday morning in a boardroom say, hey guys, do you also have this? The guys already thought I was mad, like the way I ran businesses, because I ran businesses was quite feminine energy. So the shareholders were like, they would have. So I had pretty much could operate from the masculine energy and the feminine energy, and the traditional business masculine energy way found me always weird. So I couldn't really talk about this. And then jump ahead, I went on this journey around the world, and then I ended up in the Hawaii Tantra Festival in January 2015. And then I came across all these other guys that are talking about Taoism and Tantra. And I met a guy that says, this is what I do. And I went, what? And then I realized these are ancient practices from 3,000 years ago.
And you probably have a strong lineage or like link to those lineages. Like that's what I see with the awakening, is we all get pulled towards energetically the lineages that again, and it doesn't have to be so much in a lineage, but there is kind of like an energetic signature to lineages and to people that really wants to flow through us. And I think that's kind of what I get from your energy, is that very much, I mean, you were probably like some sort of a tantric master in your past lives, and then you came, and then like that side of you had to stay so repressed for so long until it was, that was part of your unfolding as well. It's like you obviously wanted, your soul wanted you to go through all of that to get to the where it was like, okay, now at this age you'll wake up and open up to all of those kind of energetic.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Wow, man. That's better articulated than I've ever heard about my journey. Thank you for that.
Well, like, so what I like, one of my gifts is I feel people's energies very clearly, and then that's just like information comes through me based on
beautiful. Thank you for that, because it feels so true, and I totally agree with you that yeah, it's beautifully articulated. I think that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I then went around after the Tantra Festival around the world, ended up in Israel, where in the sacred sexuality community there, yeah, the one lady there also said, no, you were definitely a sexual priest, and whatever, sometimes the Tantra word in lives before, and we made love on all the hilltops in Israel. and yeah, so I think there's definitely something like that, brother. And then maybe just to complete the line further is now after I've written a book, now people come to me, and now I'm sharing things about sexuality and relationships to people. So clearly that thread, and and it's embodied, as you say. It's definitely I mean, why would it have happened 20 years ago without me? God, I don't think I even had heard the word Tantra when this happened to me in 2003. I mean, honestly, I don't think I've even come across Tantra by then. But I was having this.
But like, your soul knew already, like how to do all of that kind of stuff. I had some experiences, like as a teenager growing up, I started exploring, like when I got sick as well, like orgasming without ejaculating and all this kind of stuff. And I wasn't talking, because it's the same thing. It's like all this conditioning of being it's more open to that kind of stuff now in my kind of growing up than yours, but still the same, like all that repression around all that kind of stuff. But at some level, something in me was like exploring all of this kind of stuff, and then that also triggered a lot of the energies that led to kind of all these deeper awakenings. Was triggered a lot, like linked to the sexual energy, so maybe you can tell us a little bit what you know about that, of the role of sexual energy in the process of awakening, and maybe for men, like the role of conserving sexual energy through not ejaculating. What can you share with us on that?
Yeah, so for me, I'm very passionate about at the moment to share, especially that both of those things you mentioned to guys, and to make guys and women aware that to be conscious about the ejaculation. And to firstly say that ejaculation is beautiful. There are some schools that say you shouldn't ejaculate, and the no-fap movement, and that's all cool. That's their route, but that's not what I propose. What I bring to people is that ejaculation is amazing. It's beautiful, but to be conscious about it, and to realize that you don't have to ejaculate every time you make love, number one. And number two, it's important to self-pleasure and masturbate. Not that it's okay. It's actually important, because we were told it's bad, and then people say, no, it's okay, but it's not okay. It's actually very important to self-pleasure every day, even if you are making love every day. And that when you self-pleasure, you also don't have to ejaculate every time. So those are the broad strokes on that. And the reason I say that is that we are not aware, we're not taught as men, that if you ejaculate, you actually lose a lot of life force energy. And it's kind of obvious because, sperm and the vitamins and the enzymes and everything and I mean, there are 200 million sperm cells with each ejaculate on average. So all of this is the best of our body that's going to make life.
Well, if you think of it just like from the energetic perspective as well, that like that is the energy that creates a new human being. It's like it's a massive amount of energy, and like you said, the life force energy. Yeah,
life force is a massive amount of energy. It's the best parts of your whole being, because that's how for evolution to, for the species to continue.
Yeah, exactly.
The best part of your being are going out, and that makes life. So this is the essence of yourself.
Yeah.
So, fuck, if you're not conscious about it, then you're clearly missing something. And then that's what I'm bringing. I just bring you the consciousness to it. And then people can decide how and what they want to do with it. But just to bring them aware that this is a really important thing. And that if you, for example, ejaculate 5 times a day, you are going to lose a lot of energy. Maybe if you're 17, my son said, 17, 18, he said, Dad, I like 17. I said to my boy, that's cool, So maybe if you're 16, 17 to ejaculate, that's fine. But as you get older, your 20s, 30s, 40s, if you ejaculate 5 times a day or 3 times a day, every day, from the age of 15 to 70, you're losing so much energy. And what people don't realize is that after the ejaculation, there's this thing they call the ejaculation hangover period. It takes you 3, 4, 5 days just for your body to replenish all this, not just the sperm, the enzymes, the vitamins. And, so if it takes you, depending on your age, but let's say it takes you let's take the average 4 days, but you ejaculate every day, then you for your whole life are living in an ejaculation hangover period.
Right.
So you never really... Exactly, bro. You never really get to that vibrancy, that benefit of what you could have. And what I often say to the guys is, and I do these 21-day courses, but we don't ejaculate for 21 days. We don't watch porn for 21 days, online kind of thing. And I say to the guys, just try. And most of the guys, never mind 21 days, after 7 days, go like, whoa, I've got so much energy.
Yeah.
They're brimming with energy, and they got clarity in their life. They've got purpose. There's so much that happens, The one guy in Prague was saying he's sitting in a coffee shop and a woman came and he's a very shy guy.
Well, that's the funny thing, right? Is your attractive energy is completely different as well, because you have all this energy built up and conserved in you, and people can sense that. I've noticed that.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, awesome. So you know what I'm talking about, Carl. You've expressed that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It was recently kind of because what I also wanted to say is I think what makes a big difference, because this is what I noticed talking to friends about it when I was younger, is it also seems that it depends on the being or the person themselves on how sensitive they are to the effects of it. Where I would realize that when I was younger, if I ejaculated, it would really hit me I would just have so much fatigue and so much. And actually, the more I became sensitive to the energy, the more I felt the effects of it stronger and stronger. Whereas I have friends who are whatever, it doesn't really affect them. I think it affects everybody, but I think depending on who we are and what we're here to do, it can also have because that's actually kind of what led to a lot of my health problems as well, was this chronic fatigue over time.
Okay.
So it's wow. I was and what I've realized now in the space that I do with people is oh wow, I'm very sensitive to energy. So it's just interesting to see how how it can vary across person to person as well.
No, definitely. And I think it can. And I think definitely in your space, then also with the illness, it would have even played a stronger role.
Yeah, exactly.
But I tell you one thing, so for the guys that are listening and say, oh yeah, it doesn't affect me so much. I almost want to say to you, do you really know?
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
Exactly. Go and try and ejaculate not for 7 days. Let's say you're 22. Ejaculate every day. Try not ejaculate for 7 days. Not try, just go and do it. And then see how you feel. And then compare that with the other one, So maybe you don't feel bad, but we don't know. But we feel bad if that is the baseline, Sometimes we have a certain energy level and we think that's all cool, but we don't. Only when we have that energy level, we realize, but oh, wow, there's a gap here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great point. It's you don't know what you're comparing it to, so you have to trial it. And for me, it's that energy can be put towards other things then, so it's one, like we said, you can attract or you just give off this kind of different charisma or aura. And also it can be put into creative projects. Like that's what I've noticed in my own life. It's like, oh wow, that energy, then if it's not going there, then it's like, oh wow, it wants to like build and create and do, and it can like go to spiritual gifts and all these kind of things. So it's like, it's this energy and it's this life force energy. And then if you're not kind of constantly wasting it all there, it's like it can be put into, or can be allowed to flow into different areas of your life. And it's still your, like what I like what you said as well, it's still your choice what you want to do with that energy. There's no right or wrong, but it's like, why not see what else can be done with it rather than just ejaculating constantly, you know?
Yeah, 100%. No, 100%. Yeah. Now, that first part of that point, about the glowing, his name is Radislav. I mean, you gave me a beautiful testimony.
Yeah.
In Prague, he was saying, he's so shy to go up to girls, but now the girls come up to you because they can see the guys glowing,
Yeah.
And then your other point about you can put this energy. Yes, Carl. So then if you come across this book, it's actually a business book, but one of the chapters talk about exactly what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
And it is by Napoleon Hill.
Yeah. I haven't read the whole thing, but like a long time, or like when I was quite a bit younger, I was interested in it.
Yeah. It's called, for the listeners, it's called Think and Grow Rich. It was published in 1939 in America. It's a business book. He looked at top people, those days only men, but like business people, artists across all spectrum. And he said, what are the 13 attributes? And there were a lot of other things, that's masterminds. But the one thing he was talking about is, and can you believe this, in 1939 in America, of all places, the heading of the chapter is sexual energy transmutation.
Oh, wow. I remember reading like the first few chapters. I think it was when I was like 14 or 15, I was like drawn to the book. But I didn't know it went into sexual energy as well. That's interesting.
It's fascinating, man. I find it one of the most fascinating stories. So I've only read that chapter. I haven't read the rest of the book. I'm a little bit past the business book stage of my life now, but I read that one chapter, and just go read it. It's very short. It's in 50 pages or so, but it is unbelievably insightful. Yeah. And he doesn't talk there use the word ejaculation. I think that would have been too much in 1939. But if you read between, it's exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about, you were saying, is that he looked at these top guys, and the one guy, he actually asked, he said, how did you build these? He was a billionaire. How did you build these businesses? And he said, well, my gorgeous, beautiful secretary. And he went, wow. And he said, no, I would walk into the office and I would just see this beautiful woman sitting there. And I would like, wow. And I would go into the office and I stood by my desk, and then I felt obviously now arousing this energy. And he said, then I'd use that energy, and I was thinking creative things about it. And that I was just so energized in the mornings in my office I came up with these ideas that made billions of dollars. Don't you love that story?
That's fascinating. Yeah. Like the sexual energy was being sparked by her, but then it could be like, instead of going
exactly.
Or act, it could be that.
Yeah. And to your point, we can manifest with that energy now. So we can take that energy, we don't ejaculate. It's not just about sitting and I'm not going to ejaculate for the next 30 or 60 days and do nothing with it. It's actually breathing it up, then putting it towards and your meditation, or, it doesn't have to be, it can be your meditation, walking on the beach meditation. I'm like, oh, wow, where I want to take this. And then, channeling that into whatever area you want to.
Yeah, exactly. And just allowing it for, like, this is what I point people to, is like allowing it to flow in the way that feels the most natural for you.
Yes.
I think it's so key, because again, even like these meditations and stuff, people can get stuck on like, what's the right way, or like, what's the technique. But it's like your energy knows fundamentally what's right for you. If you just trust that more and more, then it will flow. And it will also know whether you want to like conserve that energy more, you want to put it there. Like if you just kind of trust that inner intuition, like then it will flow how it wants to, in the way that's going to be kind of the most aligned for each person.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, exactly. It's not for all to go and say, I'm going to build businesses. But then maybe for someone, it's
exactly.
Wow, I want to paint, like, wow, I feel this energy. I want to paint, and then start painting, It can be anything.
Exactly.
Your relationship, it can go in your relationship. It can
exactly. That's it. It can go, whatever kind of feels most natural. So one of the things that you mentioned it a little bit in the Israel chapter, in your book, and another later chapter, I think, where you help somebody out actually with their own energy through having sex with them. Can you talk a little bit more about like the stuff that can happen in sex, or like the abilities that we might have that most people don't know about? Because I think specifically in your chapter in Israel, there was a lot of interesting things there that I'd never even read about before. Yeah, if anything comes to mind on that topic to share.
Yeah, just we made love on and on a lot of the hilltops in Israel, and send love out to the world. And we were making nature love, and we were just like so for hours and connecting, and then we just send it out. Israel is a pretty troubled part, especially now, but even then, it was always been, and or the whole Middle East is a troubled part, and well, the whole of the world is in some places, so we just sent that out. And
you were probably connecting to the energy of the land there as well, which was opening things up so much.
That's exactly, yeah. And this is one rabbi there that was, well, let's say ex-rabbi, still a rabbi, but he was also then doing a lot of work in the sacred sexuality space. So he's done a traditional religion thing, and then a spirituality, very much more spirituality. And he, is obviously quite experienced then in the history of the land and of obviously their culture and so on. And his view is in the time of King Saul, there were temples all over, or prior to Israel, sexual temples, with priests and priestesses where people made love. It's only later that religion made sexuality this bad thing and cut it out. But that land had a lot of sexual temples, education for people, enlightening for people, So I connected with the land in that space also. Now, in a priestess Sharon, which was, I changed the name, but it's Michal. She's a beautiful woman that I met there, and she's doing amazing work around the world. Lead facilitator for that. I went on to like 9-10 of the trainings of this. I changed the name in a book, but it's in essence the Easter guys, and they do trainings all over the world, 7 days on spiritual sexual shamanism. Right. So it's anyway, it was her that I connected with mostly for that time, and really dropped deeply into the space. Most people only know, there's like the four, if I can maybe briefly summarize, four kind of areas of sexuality. The first being procreation, making kids. The second, the recreation, just having fun.
Right.
The third one, you can really, health-wise, breathe this energy up and heal yourself. And it sounds you've had quite a bit of experience of that. And then fourthly, spiritual, where you can really, awaken yourself in spiritual growth. And I think we're talking now about this last part. And most people have never really experienced transcendental lovemaking. What do I mean by that? It's when you're connecting with someone and you make love, and it's not just the body's making love anymore. It's now you actually drop into the soul space, and the two souls are making love, and you start feeling that. And you go into this void, and you're just with each other, and it just flows, and you meet God, and you meet the whole universe is inside you, and you go to these places. And these words are just pointers, that I use, because how can you explain in words something so profound, So I'm just doing my best with putting pointers there. But if you allow yourself to go there with someone, and you really surrender, and you open up, and you open your heart, your partner opens her or his heart, and you then go into that space and just go with the flow of that, out of the mind, into the body, into the soul space, into the energy space, then magic starts happening. So I invite everyone to explore and try that. To put it in words, it's kind of difficult. It's more an invitation to go and put yourself in that space where you try that and see what happens. Be curious what happens. And it's not about a destination. Now I'm going to meet God now this time. Just go into the exploration, stay curious, and bring yourself into open-hearted lovemaking, and And for not just for sometimes a 5-10 minute quickie is great, but maybe for a few hours
Yeah.
and see where that takes you.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. It's like talking about, yeah, sex as an opportunity, as a spiritual practice, or in the same way that meditation could be. Like like you can realize your true nature through sex as well, which is I think what you're showing there, which is really really powerful, because I think most people don't realize that can be one's gateway as well, to these kind of
Exactly,
the
because
truth about reality.
because firstly we've been so conditioned, we've been so cut off from it. And it's easy to control people if you cut them off their sexuality, and that's kind of what's happened, without making a big deal about it or any conspiracy thing about it. It's just the reality. If you cut people from their sexuality, you cut them off their power.
Exactly.
So the first step is to just to drop the conditioning, and as much as you can do work for the conditioning to fall away. And then once the conditioning has fallen away, then to put yourself in a space of lovemaking. And by the way, this lovemaking is not necessarily with someone else. It can just be with yourself also.
Yeah.
So if you're not with the guys with not, or the people are not in a relationship or partnership, you can still do that and just drop into self-love and self-pleasuring and let that energy flow for long.
And you can explore so much in that space energetically as well. Like, I think that's a good, for listening. It's like, you might be feeling, I don't have a partner, I can't explore that, but you still can.
Sure.
Yourself. Yeah, for sure.
No, sure. I actually believe that's the starting point, is to make love to yourself first, and from that place to make love with a partner, because then your body, you drop into your own pleasure. You're not there to do anything to her or to him. You're actually just there present with yourself. And that's where the beautiful lovemaking happens. In the same with the other partner, they're just present with themselves and with each other. And that's where the magic happens.
Yeah, because the first thing at an energetic level is to connect fully to your own energy, and then through that you can open up to one's other energy. But it also comes back to that point of like not searching for yourself in somebody else, or not searching for that completeness or that wholeness in another being, but kind of meeting all parts of yourself, and then in that beautiful things can be explored, like in this meeting with another. But you don't. It's like, I get the image, I think a friend of mine has spoken about before, like of like two circles. You have two complete circles, and then these circles can like kind of cross over and explore with each other. But it's like, because this is if we talk about the conditioning, like that's such a huge thing in the conditioning of, like, if you look at Hollywood media and all this kind of stuff of like needing to complete oneself in another. Right, like all the romantic movies and all that bullshit. And that's a big thing, like taking people away from their own power as well, is that you don't need anything outside of yourself, truly. But that doesn't mean that you have to abstain from all of that. It can be beautifully explored, but it has to start with finding it within yourself first.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people come to my work or courses and saying like, wow, I want to be a better lover, I want to satisfy my partner. And then actually in the journey, they realize, wow, it's actually about myself.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's so obvious, but it's actually beautiful. And then they go, wow. And then they drop into their own pleasure, into themselves.
Yeah.
And then when they do then make love with a partner, that sex is actually so much better. And the partner goes like, wow, what's happening? This is, and then a guy, this is a classical Nia Nisu, a famous actor up there in Johannesburg. And he actually did a clip about this. But this exact same thing happened to him. And his partner went, wow, this is different. And then he went, oh, wow. And then he went, he came to the course to be this great guru lover for his partner. And then in the course, he realized, wow, this is actually about myself, my own pleasure. And he dropped into that. And then when they then made love, he was in his own, connected to himself. And then she had this amazing experience, because she realized he wasn't trying to do anything to her. He was just being present.
Exactly. Yeah. Because
that's beautiful. It took
that's
all the pressure off her, and then the
yeah,
two
exactly.
combined on the, went on a journey together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love what you say. It's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
and
have to.
sorry, that's such a key point, like that, another person can feel that, like the intention can feel good, like I just want to please the other person, but the other person will feel that pressure energetically, right?
Yes.
Even if you're not saying it. And also we're always like reflecting our own beliefs onto somebody else. So if we're kind of holding this belief like I'm not allowed to feel pleasure, I need to pleasure the other person, then we're reflecting that belief onto the next person, right? But that's why it's so key to find all of this in yourself and allow the joy and the pleasure, like even outside of sex, in yourself, because then
Yes.
you're reflecting that to everybody else. You're saying like I'm allowed to feel pleasure, so then you're actually kind of pulling the other person into that, like you're allowed to
Yes.
feel pleasure as well, because we're all reflecting at an energetic level what we believe, which is why that's like, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, as opposed to the other story which you just said earlier,
Yeah.
that song, "You Complete Me." I always find it so crazy, that song.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
complete me. And like,
Yeah.
what? Why do you need
Yeah.
someone to complete you? As
Yeah.
opposed to what you just said, which is beautiful,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I feel like relationship is always you know showing us, or like showing us the parts of ourselves that we wouldn't otherwise see, so it's like
Yes.
even if we feel incomplete, then we'll be drawn into the relationship, which will show us